The village of Dakunu lay beneath the golden embrace of the evening sun, its red earth paths winding between thatched huts and towering baobab trees. The scent of roasted maize mingled with the distant rhythm of talking drums. It was a place where honor ruled, where a man's word was sacred, and where love, once betrayed, could never be the same again. Omaro. A revered hunter, returned early from the deep forest that day. He had slain an antelope, but an unease had settled in his chest, a whisper from the spirits, warning him. His broad shoulders carried his spear, still stained with fresh blood, as his bare feet hurried across the village paths. When he reached his hut, the sight before him shattered his world. There, in the dim glow of the setting sun, was his wife, Sewa, tangled in the embrace of Karimu, the village storyteller, the man who had spun tales of love and war beneath the great baobab tree, the very man Omaro had once called a brother. For a moment, time stood still. Omaro's breath hitched, his hands trembling as he gripped his spear. Rage burned through him like the midday sun. The ancestors called for vengeance. Sewa gasped, scrambling to cover herself with the cloth that had once been Omaro's gift to her. Karimu's face turned ashen as he stumbled backward. "You have dishonored me," Omaro growled, his voice low like a lion's warning before the strike. Karimu fell to his knees. "Please, great hunter, do not take my life." Omaro took a slow step forward. "You beg for mercy after lying with my wife?" Sewa clung to his arm. "My husband, forgive me. I was lost. My heart was confused." Omaro scoffed. "Confused? A woman does not mistake her husband for another." He raised the spear. He could end them both here and now. The gods would not fault him. The village would praise him. Justice would be served. But love was a cruel master. Even now, with betrayal crushing his heart, he could not deny the truth. The idea of harming Sewa sent unbearable pain through him. He lowered the spear. "You want him?" His voice was too calm. "Then prove it. Let me see how deep your love truly is." Karimu and Sewa exchanged fearful glances. Omaro exhaled, his face unreadable. "If you love him enough to betray me, then I will make you both understand the weight of your choices." With those words, he turned and walked away into the night. The village would hear of this. The elders would judge. The spirits would not be silent. Next morning. Dakunu was quiet. The villagers gathered beneath the great baobab tree, where justice was dispensed. Omaro stood in the center of the gathering, his face set like stone. Sewa and Karimu knelt beside him, their heads bowed in shame. Baba Useni, the eldest of the council, raised his staff. "You have called upon the elders to judge this matter. Speak." Omaro's jaw clenched. "I returned from the hunt to find my wife in the arms of another man. She has dishonored our union. He has betrayed our brotherhood. I demand justice." A murmur ran through the villagers. Betrayal of this kind was not taken lightly. Baba Useni turned to Sewa. "Daughter of Dakunu, what have you to say for yourself?" Sewa's hands trembled as she lifted her head. "I have wronged my husband. I ask not for mercy, but for the wisdom of the elders." The elder nodded before shifting his gaze to Karimu. "And you, son of Dakunu?" Karimu swallowed hard. "I have betrayed a friend and dishonored myself. I accept whatever punishment is deemed just." The elders exchanged glances before Baba Useni spoke again. "Omaro, you have called for justice, but the spirits whisper that love and vengeance are not so easily untangled. Would you take their lives to mend your heart?" Omaro's grip tightened on his spear. "They do not deserve to live after what they have done." Baba Useni sighed. "Then you would have their blood on your hands and the ancestors would see no difference between you and them." The council conferred in hushed tones before Baba Useni raised his staff once more. The ancestors have spoken. If justice is to be served, it must not be with blood, but with truth. Omaro frowned. What do you mean? The elder's gaze deepened. If you truly seek justice, you must endure the pain of betrayal. You must live as she does, feel as she feels. A ripple of confusion passed through the crowd. How do you propose I do that? Omaro asked. Baba Husseini stepped forward. For one moon cycle, you will live apart, but every day you must come before the village, before your ancestors, and speak not of your anger, but of what you have learned. Only when the moon is full again will the elders decide if justice has been served. Gasps erupted among the villagers. Such a decree had never been heard before. Omaro's face darkened. This is madness. This is justice, Baba Husseini corrected. If love is to be avenged, it must first be understood. The words hung heavy in the air. The spirits had spoken, and there was no defying them. In the days that followed, Omaro walked through the village, feeling the weight of his new reality. The men who once admired him whispered behind his back. The women who once envied Sewa scoffed at her disgrace. And Karimu sat in silence beneath the great baobab tree, where he once told tales. No one wanted to hear his voice anymore. With each day, Omaro felt the sting of what Sewa had endured. The judgment, the whispers, the shame. But he also saw something else. One evening he found Sewa sitting by the river, washing clothes alone. She looked up, and for the first time in weeks, their eyes met. There was no defiance, no excuses, only quiet regret. Do you hate me? She asked softly. Omaro hesitated. I thought I did. She lowered her gaze. I never meant to hurt you. I was foolish. Omaro exhaled. I loved you, Sewa. That was my mistake. No. She met his eyes. Your mistake was believing love was enough. The words hit him like a blow, and he realized for the first time that love was not possession. Love was sacrifice. When the moon was full once more, the village gathered again. Baba Husseini raised his staff. Omaro, have you found your justice? Omaro stepped forward. His voice was steady. I have found my truth. And what is that? He looked at Sewa, then at Karimu. That vengeance only deepens the wound. That love cannot be forced. And that forgiveness is not weakness, but freedom. The elder smiled. Then your trial is complete. And with that, the matter was settled. Omaro turned and walked away, not with anger, not with pain, but with the knowledge that life, like love, was not about holding on, but knowing when to let go.